Even though Keanu Reeves has stuck to his stance on John Wick's fate and his involvement in the franchise, Lionsgate executive Jennifer Brown has confirmed that John Wick 5 is still in the works. So, let's break down everything we know so far. Time to dive in. The John Wick movies follow the journey of a legendary assassin, played by Keanu Reeves, who's tried to leave his violent past behind but keeps getting pulled back in. The most recent installment, John Wick Chapter 4, came out in 2023 and took the action to France, where Wick faced some of his most dangerous enemies in what seemed like his final battle. But despite that, Lionsgate isn't ready to let go of the franchise just yet. In an interview with Jennifer Brown, who oversees global products and affairs at Lionsgate, confirmed that John Wick 5 is officially in development. She didn't mention Reeves' repeated statements about not wanting to return as John Wick, but she did highlight how the John Wick universe is still growing. Along with Ballerina, the first spin-off movie, Lionsgate is also looking at more spin-offs, a TV series, and even a video game. That raises a big question. Where exactly can they take the franchise from here? The ending of John Wick Chapter 4 wrapped up Wick's story in a way that felt pretty final, so bringing him back could feel forced. Recasting him wouldn't sit well with most fans either, especially since Reeves has been such a huge part of making the character who he is. One possible direction could be a prequel with a younger actor, but even then, audiences might be skeptical about a John Wick movie without Keanu. Reeves' passion for the first film and his close collaboration with directors Chad Stahelski and David Leitch played a massive role in getting the franchise off the ground. He didn't just star in the movies, he helped shape the character into what fans love today. So if Lionsgate doesn't handle the next movie carefully, they risk losing a lot of longtime fans who feel like the franchise isn't the same without him. That being said, there's still a lot of room to expand the John Wick universe in ways that don't require bringing back Wick himself. Ballerina, starring Ana de Armas, will introduce a new lead character while still keeping Wick in the background, and The Continental already proved that a prequel could work without directly showing Wick's past. These projects show that the franchise can survive without Keanu at the center, as long as they find compelling new characters to focus on. Still, some fans are skeptical about Lionsgate's approach. With all these spin-offs and projects in the works, it's starting to feel like they're prioritizing quantity over quality. If they're just churning out more John Wick content for the sake of keeping the brand alive, the quality might take a hit. But if Ballerina and the upcoming Donnie Yen-led Kane spin-off do well, it could prove that other characters in this universe are strong enough to carry their own stories. If that happens, Lionsgate might rethink how they handle John Wick 5 and take a smarter, more creative approach to keeping the franchise going. The John Wick franchise has built its legacy on high-stakes action and an ever-expanding world of assassins, but with Lionsgate moving forward with John Wick 5, there are a lot of questions about where things go from here. Keanu Reeves has been pretty firm about not returning, and Chapter 4 gave Wick what seemed like a definitive ending. But despite that, the studio is still determined to continue the story, leaving fans wondering how they plan to bring John Wick back, and more importantly, why they even should. Of course, one of the biggest concerns about John Wick 5 isn't just figuring out how to resurrect Keanu Reeves' character, it's making sure that his return actually makes sense. Chapter 4 ended with Wick supposedly dying after his duel with Marquis Vincent Bissett de Gramont, giving him a peaceful exit after years of violence. Bringing him back wouldn't be easy, but this is a franchise that has gradually stepped further and further away from its gritty realism in favor of a more stylized, almost mythic tone. So, sure, they could probably find a way to explain Wick's survival, but whether that's the right move is another story entirely. The real question isn't how John Wick could come back, but why he would. His entire arc across the films has been about trying to escape this brutal world of assassins and find peace. If he truly survived, he'd finally have that. Why would he throw it away? If John Wick 5 takes place before Chapter 4, or in some kind of alternate timeline where he didn't die, it could work, but that seems like a stretch. A more plausible scenario is that he faked his death to finally free himself from the high table's grasp. But even if that's the case, there has to be something major that pulls him back into the chaos, and that reason needs to be more compelling than just another round of revenge. Another issue is that John Wick Chapter 4 already set the bar so high when it came to raising the stakes. Each film kept escalating the threats against Wick, forcing him into increasingly impossible situations. By the time we got to Chapter 4, he was facing off against the all-powerful High Table itself. It was his final battle, the one thing stopping him from getting the peaceful retirement he'd been fighting for all along. If John Wick 5 tries to walk that back, it risks making his entire journey feel pointless. What could possibly be a bigger threat than the High Table? If the story doesn't justify a new conflict, it could end up feeling forced and unnecessary. So, if Wick is going to return, there needs to be a real reason behind it. Let's assume for a second that he did survive and went into hiding. It would take something huge to bring him back, something even bigger than his fight with the High Table. The franchise would need to dig into his past and introduce a new element that truly justifies his return. Maybe there's someone he still owes a debt to, or maybe someone he cares about is in serious danger. John has always been a ruthless killer, but he's also been shown to be deeply loyal and compassionate when it comes to the people he loves. That could be the key to making his comeback actually feel meaningful. At the end of the day, John Wick 5 is a tough sell. The studio clearly wants to keep the franchise going, and with spin-offs like Ballerina and The Continental, there's still plenty of room to explore this world without forcing Wick himself back into the mix. But if they're determined to bring him back, they have to do it in a way that doesn't cheapen everything that's come before. That said, Keanu Reeves recently addressed speculation about his return in John Wick 5 during an interview with Extra TV. While he confirmed his brief appearance in the Ballerina spin-off, he emphasized that as far as he knows, John Wick is truly dead. His statement, while not entirely shutting the door on a sequel, makes it clear that nothing is currently in the works. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop. And if you want, you can share your thoughts about this video in the comments.